What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wager Zone Podcast, and we are back for another day of soccer bets, guys. Yesterday, another positive day, 4-2. We're starting to pick up the pace and start cashing out these bets. So if you guys are here for the first time, don't miss out this weekend. That we're planning on cashing out big this weekend, so hopefully we stick to it. All these bets hit. Click that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the page, come back every single day, guys, and let's cash out for today's soccer bets. I usually only give you guys about 6 bets. Today I have a giant slate for you guys. I have about 8 or 9. I think it's 8, maybe it's 9, but let's get through all these. I think I have a whole bunch of bets for you guys today, the biggest slate I've had for you guys in a while. So let's cash these bets out. First bet of the day, guys, is going to be Manchester City taking on Tottenham. This one I'm taking Manchester City to win the game and over 1.5 goals. Not just the over 1.5 goals on them, guys, to win the game and over 1.5. Manchester City is a minus 250 to win the game. They're a minus 220 to score at least 2 goals in the over 1.5. But you put that together, over 1.5 goals and to win the game, get it down to a minus 152. That's a great line. I think Manchester City, especially at home, is going to dominate this game. Tottenham doesn't have the best offense. Tottenham doesn't have the best defense. Their offense is what keeps them in games. But this one, I just think Manchester City is going to be way too much for them, especially at home. I think Manchester scores about 3 or 4 goals, maybe a 3-1, maybe a 4-2 victory. So for this one, guys, first bet of the day in the English Premier League, give me Manchester City to win the game and over 1.5 goals. Alright, guys, next bet is going to be in the EFL Championship. It's going to be Wrexham taking on Sheffield Wednesday. This one, guys, I'm taking Wrexham over 1.5 goals. I think Wrexham comes in here, scores about 2 or 3, maybe a 2-1, 2-0, or a 3-1 victory. I think Wrexham's been playing really well recently. They've been playing against probably the best teams in the league the first 2 games, against West Brom and then Southampton. They went against 2 really good teams where they almost beat Southampton, but they ended up giving the game away at the end of the game. But against West Brom on the road, they went out there and they scored 2 goals against West Brom, one of the best teams in the league. And now they're playing against Sheffield Wednesday, a team that's way inferior than any of those two. I think Wrexham's a better team. I think Wrexham comes in here, like I said, 2-1, 2-0, or a 3-1 victory. So for this bet, give me Wrexham over 1.5 goals. Alright, guys, for the next bet, it's going to be Dynamo Zagreb taking on Istra 1961 in the Croatian League. This one, guys, I'm taking Dynamo Zagreb to win the game and over 1.5 goals. Same as the Manchester City, not the normal over 1.5 goals. Over 1.5 goals, the normal one for the over 1.5 goals for them is going to be a minus 260. You take them to win the game, that's a minus 310. You take them both, win the game and over 1.5 goals, you get that down to a minus 165. That's another great line, because especially at home, Dynamo Zagreb playing against a way inferior team in Istra 1961. I think Zagreb comes in here and dominates a 3-0 or a 3-1 victory. So for this one, like I said, Dynamo Zagreb to win the game and over 1.5 goals. Alright, guys, next bet is going to be a 2-leg parlay. I'm taking both the home teams in here on the over 1.5 goals, but the first leg of the parlay is going to be Celtic to win the game and over 1.5 goals. They're going to win the games a minus 700. Them to score over 1.5 goals a minus 600. You take that together, over 1.5 goals, and then to win the game, that comes out to a minus 350. That's the first leg of the parlay. I think they come in against Livingston at home, one of the best offensive teams in the world, where Celtic has been dominant last season, and they'll come into this season. They seem about like they're going to keep up the same pace. And against Livingston, a team that doesn't play well on the road, a team that doesn't have the best defense, I think Celtic comes in here and wins this game 4-1. Then the second leg is going to be Marseille over 1.5 goals. Not to win the game and over 1.5, just the normal over 1.5 goals. I think Marseille comes in here, scores about 3 goals, a 3-0 or a 3-1 victory. They're playing a team that just came up from Liga 2 in Paris FC. Marseille being the second best team in this league. Historically, I do expect to have a good bounce back game, because last week they did not have a good game. They went out there, lost 1-0 to Rennes when Rennes had a red card. Now they're playing against a team in Paris FC that's just way inferior than them. So for this one, like I said, the bet's going to be Celtic to win the game and over 1.5 goals, parlayed with Marseille over 1.5 goals. Alright, guys, this is my Cash App tag. Just a quick break in the action before I finish this breakdown. If you guys want to leave me a tip, this is my Cash App tag right here. Money sign Wager Zone. Help me buy coffee. Keep me awake too. Do all this research I do for you guys. I pretty much do a lot of research all day, and I really appreciate any tips. They are not required, but they are really appreciated. It will also help me add more things to my video. I want to start putting videos, different things, different backgrounds for myself, working a lot of different things. So I would really appreciate anything that you guys would like to send me. Like I said, they're not required. They're very appreciated. And all right, guys, the link to this Cash App will be in the description of this video, so check that out. And like I said, they are appreciated, not required. So now back to the action. All right, guys, next bet's going to be a two-leg parlay as well. It's going to be in the Denmark SuperLiga, the first leg. We're taking FC Copenhagen over 1.5 goals. I think FC Copenhagen comes in here and dominates. They should come in here, score about 3, maybe even 4 goals on Odense. The team in Midtjylland on the road scored 3 goals on them. The last game, they played against a team that's worse than FC Copenhagen. They scored 4 goals on them. And the team in FC Copenhagen, being the best team in this league, playing at home, I expect them to at least score 2 goals. Like I said, I think they score about 3 or 4. But that's the first leg, guys. FC Copenhagen over 1.5 goals. And then we're parlaying that with Arsenal on the money line. I think Arsenal comes out here and wins that game pretty easily against Ligue. Maybe it's a 1-0, but I honestly think it's going to be a 2-0 or a 3-0 victory. I don't see Ligue scoring. I think Arsenal is just a way better team. They're at home. They're one of the best teams in the Premier League, and I expect them to come out here and dominate Ligue. So for this bet, it's going to be a 2-leg parlay. FC Copenhagen over 1.5 goals, parlayed with Arsenal on the money line. All right, guys, next bet's going to be another 2-leg parlay. It's going to be, the first one's going to be the first leg in the in the Netherlands League, I should say. We're taking PSV to win the game and over 1.5 goals. I think PSV comes in here against Groningen and honestly dominates. I see PSV scoring about 3 or 4, 3-0, maybe a 4-1 victory, and PSV honestly dominates from the beginning all the way to the end, especially being at home. Then we're parlaying them with Barcelona over 1.5 goals. I think Barcelona comes in here and dominates as well. I think Barcelona's going to score about 3 or 4 on Levante. Levante is not a good team at all. They're playing at home. Barcelona's on the road, but I still expect Barcelona being with probably a top 3 team in the world this year, especially with Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski and those boys playing really well in that first game. I expect them to come out here and dominate this one and win this game pretty easily. So for this one's going to be a PSV over 1.5 goals. PSV to win the game and over 1.5 goals, parlayed to Barcelona over 1.5 goals. All right, guys, the next bet's going to be in the MLS. It's going to be DC United taking on Inter Miami. This one, I'm taking Inter Miami over 1.5 goals. I think Inter Miami comes in here, scores about 3 goals. I think it's going to either be a 3-1 or a 3-2 victory for Inter Miami. I think they come out here, score at least 2, like at worst, because Messi was out the last game against Tigres, and they went out there and they scored 2 goals in that one and moved on to the Leagues Cup. Now they're coming into the MLS, playing the team on the road. Yes, they're on the road, but they're playing against the worst team in the league, with DC being the worst defense in the whole entire league. I expect Inter Miami to dominate, especially if Messi comes in here and plays. Even if he doesn't play, I still expect him to score at least 2. But if Messi does play, I'm expecting 3 or 4. I think Inter Miami is just a way better team. They have the midfield, they have the defense, they have the strikers. Everything's just better than DC United. So for this one, give me Inter Miami over 1.5 goals. All right, guys, now for the last bet. It's going to be in the MLS as well. Vancouver Whitecaps taking on St. Louis City. This one, I am taking Vancouver Whitecaps to win the game and over 1.5 goals. The normal money line on them is a -240. The over 1.5 goals on them is a -210. Put that together, Vancouver Whitecaps to win the game and over 1.5 goals to be scored in the game. You get that down to a -150. That's another great line. St. Louis is not that good, especially on the road. They've been having a horrible season. And Vancouver Whitecaps are top 3 in their division. They're one of the best teams in the league. I should say the conference. They're top 3. They play really well at home, doubling up the amount of goals they've given up and scored and then against. They scored about 25 goals at home, only giving up about 12. And I think they're going to come in here against St. Louis, a team that's lost 5 games in a row on the road, giving up at least 2 goals in all 5 of those games. I expect Vancouver Whitecaps to come in here and dominate, probably a 3-1, maybe even a 2-0 victory. But I expect Vancouver Whitecaps to win this game and at least the over 1.5 goals hitting. So for the last bet of the day, guys, it's going to be Vancouver Whitecaps in the MLS. Vancouver Whitecaps to win the game and over 1.5 goals. And alright, guys, that is it for today's video. Like I said in the beginning, click that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the page. Come back every single day, guys. Giant slate for you guys. 8 bets, I believe it was. So let's cash out all these bets and let's have a great Saturday. I'm out of here, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.